This is totally bonkers. Meghan Markle has decided to use the 5th birthday of her own daughter to lash out. We see you, Meghan, and your angry statement ain't going to shut us up. And of course, it is this total juxtaposition which has forced Meghan Markle to speak out to news. They are playing games, and I think even using AI to manipulate images, making her first public statement about the very clear hypocrisy of releasing new images like that, which we just saw on Instagram, while claiming to be the hero for protecting children from social media.
Meghan Markle has found herself at the center of a fresh wave of controversy, and this time, it's not just about keeping family moments private. What was meant to be a sweet and simple birthday celebration for Princess Lilibet, marking her 5th year, has instead ignited a fierce online conversation that's rapidly gaining momentum. Meghan recently shared a series of photos on Instagram to honor her daughter's special day, but rather than just spreading warmth and joy, these images have caught the intense scrutiny of social media users everywhere. Every detail in the pictures is being dissected and debated as people dive deep into comparisons with earlier photos of Lilibet from the past year. The questions being raised are growing increasingly persistent and loud. Why do some viewers genuinely believe that the latest photos appear to be heavily edited?
At 5 years old, Meghan Markle has realised that that poor young girl is the best way for her to make money. So that's why she's defending the fact that she's going to keep going online with these weird sort of half shots, the hearts.
What about the noticeable differences that others say don't quite line up when these pictures are matched side by side with older ones? And where is this speculation coming from that suggests some photos may have been digitally altered before Meghan even hit post? The conversation erupted almost immediately after Meghan uploaded several birthday snapshots to Instagram. And it didn't take long for eagle-eyed observers to start noticing discrepancies. People began meticulously comparing the new images with previous ones, hunting for any sign of inconsistency in Lilibet's appearance, ranging from subtle changes in her features to the overall vibe of the photos. Some turned their gaze to the lighting, the shadows, and even the background details, wondering if these pictures had been polished so heavily that instead of safeguarding the family's privacy, they ended up raising even more questions. This sparked a fierce debate across platforms, with opinions clashing and discussions swirling about the fine line between protecting loved ones and presenting an authentic glimpse into their lives. And now that debate has taken on a life of its own, moving beyond just curious commentary and into a full-blown online phenomenon that shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon.
A lot of people are not buying the pictures either. I want to show you this from According to Taz, who writes, sorry, but the ever-changing hair colour and ever-changing size of their children is what causes so many conspiracy theories.
Children are no longer just participants in digital spaces. They are too often the product.
This is far more than your ordinary birthday greeting. Critics quickly jumped in, insisting that each new photo raises a fresh batch of questions instead of offering clear answers. Yet, supporters counter that Meghan's intention is simply to share precious family moments while thoughtfully keeping her children shielded from the overwhelming glare of public attention. Still, as the guessing game intensifies, one thing is clear. These images are under a microscope like never before. The scrutiny is fierce, and that's why Meghan's latest update has rapidly become one of the most buzzed-about royal stories this week. So, what exactly are people noticing in these photos? Why are fans and critics alike digging through old pictures and comparing them to these fresh shots? And how did a heartfelt birthday celebration somehow morph into another layer of controversy surrounding the Sussex family? To truly understand this, we need to dig deeper and get a good look at the images themselves. But before we do, let's consider why this story blew up with such force right from the start. The timing was, ironically, almost too perfect to ignore. Just days before these birthday snapshots were shared, Meghan spoke openly once again about the profound effect social media can have, especially when it comes to protecting children. Her words were heartfelt and timely, emphasizing the necessity of keeping kids safe from invasive scrutiny in an age dominated by viral content. This context made the release of these family photos even more charged and set the stage for the intense public reaction that followed. In today's fast-paced digital world, every word spoken by public figures can trigger widespread reactions.
But what I would say to push back on her claims around privacy is that your children what you're doing by highlighting them like this is you are creating a mystique about your children. You are showing them in a way that gets people curious about what do they look like. So you are heightening the social media of your children more so by trying to create this obscure, no looking at their faces kind of an image.
And Meghan Markle's recent comments were no exception. Her statements immediately grabbed widespread attention because they surfaced during a growing global debate around children's online privacy, an issue that has become a hot topic among parents, lawmakers, and social media users alike. Conversations about protecting kids from the possible dangers of internet exposure are intensifying everywhere. We've already taken a deep dive into Meghan's highly publicized appearance in Geneva and the full speech she delivered there in an earlier video. But here, let's revisit some of the most compelling points and the reactions they sparked. Meghan's stance is pretty straightforward. She believes parents have the right to share moments of their children's lives online, yet this isn't a cut-and-dry matter. Prince Harry himself has been very vocal on this, describing such actions as problematic and even evil. He has openly criticized parents who share their children's photos on social platforms while simultaneously calling out social media's broader impact. This contradiction is what makes the debate so complex. For example, Harry has expressed disagreement with parents posting pictures of their kids on Instagram, arguing that while it may seem innocent, it puts those children at risk of unwanted scrutiny and exposure to a vast, sometimes harsh, public audience. In an interview with Newsweek,
Now, my position on this is very clear. I think there's nothing wrong with parents sharing their children online. But remember, Prince Harry has called it evil. He has attacked parents who are doing exactly what you are doing. Share photos of her children on Instagram while criticizing social media. Telling Newsweek, do you buy this? There is a distinction between sharing moments from her life and exposing her children to public scrutiny. Now, this statement came because they knew what was coming. They knew that Lily's fifth birthday was going to be an opportunity for Meghan to make more money.
Meghan clarified this further, emphasizing the difference between simply sharing tender, everyday family moments and blatantly exposing children to the harsh light of public scrutiny. This was no vague statement. It was almost like a preemptive defense. Why? Because everyone knew what was coming next. Meghan's daughter, Lily, was about to turn 5, and many suspected that this birthday would become another moment where Meghan might use her family life in a commercial or promotional way. The timing seemed too perfect to ignore, so here's the crucial question. Meghan Markle, with all the talk about protecting children's privacy, are you seriously suggesting that your 5-year-old daughter has given her consent for you to share her image for profit? It's a tough point to swallow. After all, a child that young cannot fully understand the consequences of having their pictures shared or used in ways that might benefit their parents financially. This paradox, the desire to protect a child while capitalizing on their image, adds yet another layer of complexity to the ongoing debate about digital parenting and privacy. It's a conversation that's only going to get louder as the digital age continues to blur the lines between public and private life. Can you believe it? At just 5 years old, this little girl seems smaller now than she was a whole year ago when she was climbing Mama Mountain. It almost feels like a puzzle, one that's been altered and reshaped. They're not just playing simple games anymore. There's a sense they might even be using AI technology to subtly tweak and manipulate these photos. What's truly uncanny is how in these images the children's appearances shift dramatically. Their heights seem inconsistent, and even the color of their hair changes from one picture to the next. It's like watching a mirage flicker before your eyes. From what I can tell,
Trying to control everything about a story. And it will bite her later when they get bigger. You most guarantee that will absolutely happen. We've seen it with celebrities now.
We should not accept a digital one either.
But Meghan Markle, are you seriously saying, despite that rhetoric, that your 5-year-old daughter is giving you permission to share her image for money?
Meghan's attempts appear to be about controlling the story she wants the world to believe. But no matter how carefully she tries to craft this narrative, it's glaringly obvious when things don't add up. And the real kicker, once these children grow up, develop their own sense of truth, and begin to recognize the inconsistencies behind these carefully curated images, they may very well confront their mother about this in the future. Imagine that moment, the children seeing the bigger picture, realizing that someone they trusted tried to rewrite their reality. What makes all this even more fascinating is that the spark for this entire frenzy wasn't a royal ceremony, or a grand announcement, or some highly publicized event. No, the focus was purely on a collection of photographs. Pictures that captured the world's attention like wildfire. The buzz generated just from these visuals was extraordinary. And as the controversy gained momentum, pressure started mounting on Meghan's team to respond, to explain, to somehow quell the swelling wave of criticism. By the time the story reached this boiling point, it had exploded well beyond the circle of social media users obsessively comparing images online. This was no longer just a niche debate among fans or casual observers. Major news outlets and respected publications jumped into the fray, dedicating space and resources to cover the backlash.
How can she be smaller now at age 5 than she was a year ago climbing Monmouth Mountain? They are playing games, and I think even using AI to manipulate images.
These children have moments where they look completely different in their sizes and the color of their hair. I think what Meghan is doing is trying to control a narrative, but failing miserably at it.
The story was now mainstream, impossible to ignore, and the stakes had never been higher. Royal experts and commentators were glued to their screens, dissecting every nuance, every gesture, every word, discussing Meghan's situation day after day. The public was buzzing, and a pressing question hung in the air. Would Meghan break her silence and respond to the mounting criticism? The anticipation was palpable. Then, just when tensions were reaching a boiling point, reports surfaced confirming that a response was indeed on its way. Meghan's team took a bold step, deciding to confront the backlash head-on by releasing a carefully crafted statement. This was no simple denial or vague comment. It was a direct explanation of why Meghan feels that sharing certain images, moments from her personal life, is not at all contradictory to the boundaries she aims to protect. But as this new statement hit the headlines, it quickly stirred up even more debate, sparking fresh controversy that nobody saw coming. The kingdom of opinions expanded as the back and forth intensified. It became crystal clear that Meghan's team was fully aware of the scrutiny swirling around her.
And it's obvious they are heavily photoshopped and often badly, hence the little girl's hand melting into the balloon strings. Harry is creating more speculation over his children than what was ever said about Hewitt and his DNA, and this will backfire on his children as they grow older.
When these children do grow up and they get bigger, they're going to see the manipulation that their mother is doing. They're going to call their mother out later in life.
And they were ready to provide clarity, to shape the narrative on their own terms. According to multiple reports, Meghan's representatives offered a clear and detailed statement, making a careful distinction between simply sharing tender family moments on social media and subjecting her children to invasive public exposure or scrutiny. This carefully worded response was handed to Newsweek and instantly dominated conversations among royal watchers and commentators, sparking heated discussions across various platforms. The statement emphasized that Meghan has always been consistent about this boundary, clearly drawing a line between selective glimpses into her family life and crossing into territory that would infringe on her children's privacy. The explanation didn't stop there. It expanded to argue that by choosing to blur the children's faces in her posts, Meghan was essentially putting into practice the very values she often speaks about: online safety and digital privacy. Her statement emphasized that keeping their faces hidden isn't just about aesthetics. It's a conscious effort to protect their privacy, their ability to control their own story in the future, and their footprint in an ever-expanding online world. In essence, she's arguing that parents can still share glimpses of family life without exposing their children to unnecessary attention or risk. It sounds simple on paper, sharing moments while safeguarding children's identities, but once this explanation surfaced, the backlash was swift and intense.
By obscuring their faces, she is demonstrating the very principle she advocates for, giving children privacy, agency, and protection in an increasingly digital world. And she's been criticized even in this Newsweek article. And that's what's fascinating. Remember, Meghan has given Newsweek the statement directly to try and sort of dampen down the criticism, but it hasn't worked, because Jack Royston goes on to say, based on her spokesperson's statement to Newsweek, Meghan appears to be inclined to double down, rather than back down over the images.
Critics argued that Meghan's justification missed the bigger picture. Their concern wasn't just about whether or not the children's faces were visible, it was about how frequently the young ones appeared in her social media content. This frequency sparked a new wave of scrutiny. Media outlets quickly picked up on a pattern that was hard to ignore. Dozens of posts throughout the year prominently featured Archie, Lilibet, or both. Whether it was snapshots from family vacations, festive holiday gatherings, heartfelt birthday celebrations, or even casual outdoor adventures, the children seemed to be almost constantly present. There were also behind-the-scenes glimpses into Meghan's various projects where the kids appeared, adding another layer to the conversation. This steady stream of content made critics question how much exposure is really too much, even if faces are blurred. The debate evolved beyond just privacy. It was about the volume and nature of sharing itself, shining a spotlight on the fine line between celebrating family and overexposing children to the digital world. Many critics argued that this ongoing pattern made it nearly impossible to isolate the latest birthday photos from the wider, more complex conversation surrounding them. To those observers, the debate wasn't simply about one isolated post or a handful of images anymore. Instead, it had evolved into a much larger issue, a growing series of posts and public appearances that seemed carefully curated. This is why the official statement failed to calm the waters. It wasn't just one moment in time that was under scrutiny, but an entire narrative that people felt was being shaped behind the scenes. In fact, the response unintentionally fueled the fire rather than putting it out. The statement itself became the new focus of discussion, overshadowing the photos it was meant to address.
Now, what's interesting is that it's only really the likes of Town and Country and InStyle, really the propagandists, that are going along with Meghan's defense of her decision to share these pictures on Instagram.
It shows how Meghan is not really willing to have any sacrifice in her life. You know, it's always this compromise or an excuse to make it okay because she doesn't want to have to feel like she's being oppressed to do what she wants to do. So she's going to find some silly excuse to make it legitimate.
Royal commentators and keen followers began to wonder out loud if Meghan was maybe using her children's image in a way that wasn't completely genuine. There was a growing suspicion that the story being told was somewhat manufactured, crafted to project a certain image or message rather than a true reflection of reality. This perception led many to feel frustrated, as if they were watching a carefully choreographed performance instead of authentic family moments. People expressed a desire for honesty. They seemed to be saying, "Just show us the real side, without the smoke and mirrors." Adding another layer to this debate was a very specific observation that caught some commentators' attention: the way Meghan presented her children publicly, especially with regard to their grooming. This might sound like a small detail, but it sparked surprisingly strong reactions. Observers noted the lack of what they considered thoughtful care in the children's appearance. The little girl especially was often seen without the classic, neatly styled ponytails or other signs of attentive grooming that many parents take pride in. To these critics, it seemed like Meghan was trying to protect her children by sharing their lives.
She is highlighting these children constantly and putting them out there front and center to say, look at my children. That's what she is saying. And trying to also say they are mysterious, aren't they? Because when they write, look at the adorable pictures that Meghan shared of her children. That's laughable.
This poor girl is going to be exploited while her mother claims she's being protected.
But wasn't fully nurturing or preparing them for the public eye in a way that felt sincere or natural. Some voiced the opinion that this lack of careful grooming was symbolic. It suggested a deeper disconnect or lack of attention behind the scenes. It raised questions about the authenticity of the family image being presented. If so much effort is made on the public front, why was this simple, loving detail overlooked? The broader message inferred was that true protection of children involves more than just shielding them from view. It requires genuine care in how they are presented and guided through their experiences. This critique added fuel to the ongoing conversation, making the debate about more than just photos or statements, but about the very nature of image, authenticity, and family care in the public eye. When it comes to privacy, the challenge is clear. By sharing photos of your children online, you are intentionally putting their images out there for everyone to see. For many, this stark contrast, the desire for privacy versus the act of public sharing, became the heart of the controversy. The criticism didn't just come from a handful of royal commentators or social media voices. It quickly spilled over into mainstream media conversations, sparking a much broader debate.
Megan is trying to use her children in a way that is not honest. She is trying to represent something that is clearly being manipulated. And that's what people resent. It's like, just be real.
I call bullshit on this. The woman is a hypocrite, and the release of this statement, this angry statement on Lily's 5th birthday, shows that Meghan is finally feeling the heat over her rank hypocrisy.
Writers, journalists, and commentators began to question if simply blurring or covering a child's face is enough to protect their privacy. Does hiding a few features really guarantee that these children are shielded from the intense glare of public attention? Some experts and observers argue that constantly posting photographs of children, even when details are carefully obscured, inevitably places them in the spotlight. They suggest that once an image enters the digital realm, it can't truly be taken back, and the child's privacy is compromised regardless of the precautions taken. On the other hand, a strong counter-argument also emerged. Many believe that parents have every right to decide how much of their family life they want to share online. For them, social media is simply a platform to celebrate milestones and create a digital scrapbook of memories, not a public invitation for intrusion. This disagreement quickly grew beyond the scope of who shared a birthday post and how it was handled. It blossomed into a much larger cultural conversation, one that touches on the evolving realities of social media, the responsibilities of celebrity parenting, and the increasingly blurred line between public and private life in our modern age.
And another point that I wanted to make is just the grooming in general. You're trying to protect your children, but you're putting them out there, and then you're not even grooming them properly. Like, you never see the little girl in proper ponytails with her hair, like as if Megan put time into the child.
At 1 a.m. Los Angeles time, here was the Instagram post. Our dream girl, happy 5th birthday, Lil. And I have to be honest, the mainstream media was totally buying this. The Sun, Meghan shares adorable picture with smiling Prince Harry and Lilibet to celebrate daughter's 5th birthday. But there was nothing adorable about this. What it is a hypocritical money play.
But the birthday photos didn't just reignite privacy debates. Another intriguing detail caught the eye of the media and fans alike. Small, yet significant. Some outlets began honing in on the accessories and outfits visible in the snapshots, spotlighting a delicate bracelet that bore a striking resemblance to styles often worn by Meghan herself. While it's quite common for family members to share similar tastes in jewelry and fashion, especially within close-knit families, this particular detail added another layer to the unfolding story, inviting speculation and further discussion about connections within the family circle. The subtle hints hidden in these images kept viewers watching, eager to see what would emerge next. Preferences or even a single accessory sparked a fresh wave of scrutiny, layering complexity onto an already unfolding drama. Suddenly, no detail escaped the public's eagle-eyed focus. Every part of the photos, the lighting, the wardrobe choices, the captions that accompanied them, the exact moment they were shared, even the tone and content of the official response was dissected with relentless intensity. This thorough examination, in many ways, encapsulates the core of the entire saga. Whether fans champion Meghan or voice criticism, one fact stands unchallenged. Each image she posts featuring Archie or Lilibet.
But look at these pictures. Come on, when you put the two of them together and everything else that we have seen with this poor young girl, of course we know who she is. This is weird, it is creepy, it is hypocritical, and that's why Meghan has decided to lash out. But what I found fascinating is that even the article from Emily Barak, who is like the new Omid Scobie, still made the point, this is in Town and Country, that the majority of Meghan's posts on Instagram this year have featured her children. The majority.
Becomes a magnet for massive public interest and conversation. The ripple effect from those birthday pictures revealed just how deeply the world remains captivated by the Sussex family's story. What began as a simple, heartfelt birthday tribute rapidly morphed into a drawn-out saga that dominated headlines and social feeds for days on end. Online communities buzzed with side-by-side photo comparisons, fueling endless speculation about the intentions behind every detail. When an official statement was released, it only added fuel to the fire, prompting fresh debates and renewed media scrutiny. Commentators across platforms kept dissecting the controversy long after the first images had made their debut, proving that this was far from a fleeting moment in the spotlight. At this point, Meghan seems unwavering in her stance. The official message issued on her behalf emphasized a core belief. It's possible to share meaningful glimpses of family life while still guarding the precious privacy of her children. Despite this declaration, skeptics remain unconvinced, debating whether such a balance can truly be maintained. Looking at the strong, often polarized reactions these photos continue to inspire, it's clear that this conversation is far from over, and the Sussex family's private moments will likely remain a magnet for public attention for the foreseeable future. As the latest photos drop, it's clear this debate isn't going away anytime soon. Every time Meghan shares a new snapshot of Archie or Lilibet, the internet lights up with eager eyes and sharp analysts who comb through every little detail. Questions pop up yet again. Are these images too revealing? Are boundaries being blurred? Or is it just innocent family sharing moments together? This cycle repeats itself with almost predictable intensity, and it seems destined to continue. So what do you think? Are Meghan's critics reading just a bit too much into these photographs, creating drama where there may be none? Or do the concerns about privacy, boundaries, and respect feel entirely valid in today's media landscape? I'd love to hear your take on all of this, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you find yourself drawn into the twists and turns of the Sussex story, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Crown Clash is your go-to source for fresh daily royal news and exclusive updates, making sure you stay on top of every fascinating development involving Meghan, Harry, and the royal family. And while you're here, don't miss the videos popping up on your screen, packed with the biggest, most talked about stories you won't want to miss. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please give the video a thumbs up and share it with your fellow royal watchers. Your support truly means the world. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter of this incredible royal journey.